A good nerve Shabbos Eden. I want to take a few minutes to record a message, and maybe the chevra who do wonderful work at GYE might use this video if they're so kind. It's not a subject I really like to talk about. It's so difficult for us, for all of us, to talk about this issue, and that's why it's important to talk about. But I was confronted with it Erev Yom Kippur. I work as a prison chaplain, and people say, "Oh, Rabbi, are there a lot of Jews there?" No, Baruch Hashem, and we don't want any Jews in the prison. We have one Jew. More than one, but we have one who, mit the longer board, a couple. And it was Erev Yom Kippur. I made some time for the Eden to learn with him, say Vidoy together, say Kol Nidre. And different groups, different times for various convenience sakes, whatever. And this Yid, he was all alone. He was the only one coming. And he was supposed to show up a certain time, and 10-15 minutes passed. And the lieutenant comes. And he says, he almost got locked up in solitary confinement because of Inyan of Kedushas Abris. And various mitigating circumstances, they decide not to lock him up, and he's very lucky because, you can imagine, we go out of our way to make sure there's a little of an esrog and things. He's not going to get that if he's in solitary. So I realize it's a lesson for all of us, but I had to think, what am I going to say? I myself am filled with avein, with sin, who am I to give mussar to someone else about? And I said like this. I said, we said together Kol Nidre and Vidoy, even though it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Vidoy already, it's a past Ephes, Erev Yom Kippur. And I said, we just said Vidoy together, the two of us. I made it like a drush. I put on a talus over my head. I closed my eyes and I spoke. And I said, a Yid says Vidoy before he dies. And so that's why it's appropriate, Erev Yom Kippur, we say Vidoy. Because we're dying. Erev Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, we're in heaven. And then I remember in Yeshiva, they told us that motzei Yom Kippur, you're like a brand new baby. You're kakatan shenoila dami. You're clean of all sins. So that means that whatever I try to speak with Lashon Naki, whatever addictions a person has, that person died Erev Yom Kippur. Went to heaven. You're born again. Yom Kippur is a day we spend in Shemayim. We don't eat, we don't drink, we don't do all these things. It's a himmel to getug. So now we're born again. And so we're not trapped anymore by what happened yesterday, but what happened last year and all the past years. You have to understand something. This Yid, he's in prison, Rachmana litzlan, for a disgusting Inyan of Pagama Bris. And it should frighten all of us, because it happens that with other addictions, with drugs, what I understand, what I hear, sometimes people, I heard another rabbi talking about this. Baruch Hashem, that's an Inyan that I never was involved with. But what the stories they always say is a person, he gets involved with that taiva of drugs, and then the more simple ones don't do it for him, and it goes worse and worse until he gets into the really hard, dangerous stuff. And the same thing with Pagama Bris, Rachmana litzlan. A person starts off with something he thinks is rather innocent, which it isn't. And it gets worse and worse and worse until a person can be doing things that are illegal. This Yid has 25 to 50 years in prison because of his averas.